Hello everybody! Today we're going to be doing a holiday project, but it can really be for any holiday that you're giving gifts. So we are going to be making gift tags today, but we're going to be sewing on cardstock and on fabric to make these gift tags. So we're also going to be using stamps, maybe some ribbon and lace. I'm going to kind of just gather up some materials and kind of see what we come up with. I want them to be kind of fun and creative, but certainly easy. I want this to be a quick, easy project that looks sparkly and fun and festive. I think I'll probably be focusing on Christmas tags in this video, but you can really use the same ideas to make birthday tags, Valentine's Day tags, anytime you're giving gifts. So let's get started. So I just made 3 gift tags, thinking that I was recording making these and the camera was off. So I made these 3 and let's make 3 more. It was very funny. I was about to put little to from stamps on the back and then I realized that the camera didn't pick any of it up, so that's okay. Then we'll have 6. So let's make 3 of these. I'll show you how I made those. You want a pair of craft scissors and fabric scissors. And then if you want, you can try some pinking shears. Now my pinking shears, I have discovered, I haven't used them in ages, so I don't know if it's that they're old or the quality is bad, but you can like barely open and shut them. And I tried to do some of the pinking shears on these, and some of it came out okay, like that, but then some of it was very kind of fuzzy, like all the threads. And even if I gave myself more room on the edge, like I did on this one was better, but it still had some of the fraying. So I think I need new, crisp pinking shears. So the last one I did, I just left some of the red sticking through in the background, which I think looks really cool. And I kind of on purpose made it a little wonky. So these are supposed to look handmade. They're not going to be exact. I'm not getting out a ruler. And you could do this if you wanted to make them look really fancy and really professional. You could get out your ruler, you could cut your cardstock, you could cut your fabric, put them together, they'd be exactly the same size. But I'm just kind of cutting them randomly with my scissors and almost on purpose a little bit, making sure they're not perfectly square because I want them to have that homemade look. So here's one piece of fabric. I made sure to iron my fabric, and I'm just gonna cut out, and make sure you don't get your craft scissors and fabric scissors mixed up. But I'm just going to cut out a little square of fabric, and that's a little too wonky. Make sure that's a little more even. There we go. And then I kind of just place this on the cardstock and use my other scissors. Make sure you don't use your fabric scissors on the cardstock. That would not be good. I cut that, and now I'm going to sew around the edge. And I'm leaving probably about a ½ an inch. You could get pretty close to the edge if you wanted, but I kind of like the look of it not being right up against the edge. It kind of frames it out nicely on the other side. And I do a little back stitch to secure it in place. And you're just going to want to trim your threads. And you have one done. And this one, if I was wanting to change my thread out, I probably would have done this with red thread, and that would have popped against the green. But I kind of want this to be a quick project, and I don't want to keep changing my thread back and forth, so I'm going to keep it on the green, and you can still see the green thread is darker than the cardstock, so you do still get that framing. You know, if I was a perfectionist, I probably would have changed my thread to red, or you could even do a gold thread. I mean, on this side, some gold would be really pretty with that. The other thing I was thinking that I might try is on top of this doing a little blanket stitch around the edge, and you could even do a blanket stitch attaching some beads. I'm not going to do the beads today, but you could do that, and that would make it look extra sparkly and fancy. Here's some fabric I have, and these are all scraps that I'm using. This is a great way to use scraps. And this fabric is kind of fun because if you cut it out, you could have part of one pattern on part of the tag and part on the other tag, or you could have a wreath in the middle. So I kind of want to do both things. I'm going to cut out 2 pieces of this. I'm going to cut out the wreath
in the middle on one tag, and then I'm going to try and do the other tag with just two different wild fabrics and see how that looks. And I'll cut them both out at the same time just to save myself cutting time. Okay, so here's the wreath. I think that'll make it kind of a cool tag. And then maybe I'll do, let's see, I like the Christmas trees and the holly. So, but I don't want to get that white. No, there we go. And this one will just kind of be a nice long one. And I could, so this edge, you can see it's kind of like curved, and you could leave that. I think that would look kind of cool. I'm actually going to leave that like that. And let's do this one first. Let's put this on the red, since I did one in green. Oh, I just cut the cardstock with my fabric scissors. Ugh. Make sure not to do that because it really does dull them. It's not just an old wives' tale. It dulls them actually fairly quickly. All right, we're going to put it under the machine. I'm going to try this one with the cardstock facing up. I haven't tried doing that yet. I think it probably works better with the fabric facing up, but let's give it a try and see. And back stitch. And trim. So the thing that's not great about this is if you do get the nesting, like I got a little bit of nesting here, but that does look awfully nice. And I think if you just put your needle down and up before you start sewing, that prevents the nesting. I just always happen to forget to do that. So let's do one more, last one. We'll do this one in red too, because I liked that red with the green thread. And I'm gonna try and make this cardstock a tiny bit bigger than the fabric and just see how that looks. Let's see if that helps with the nesting. I know it works with if you're sewing two fabrics together if you put the needle down and up, but I don't know if it would work the same way with the cardstock, so we'll find out. Let's take a peek. Oh, it did work. Excellent. And you'll see that using that needle trick, it really did eliminate the nesting problem. So that's always good to do when you remember, especially in your quilting and things like that. You don't want a big pile of thread. It doesn't look very attractive. So I'm going to cut off this little piece on the end here. And I think that looks really cool. So I have 3 now, and I'm going to get my hole punch. This one I love, how it has the holly on one side and the Christmas trees on the other. I might have to make some more with that. So I'm going to take my hole punch, and I'm going to punch through. And this one is supposed to be long, but I think I'll do it this way. Punch through both the fabric and the cardstock. Then you get your yarn or a little bit of string. You could do really pretty, gold string if you wanted, or ribbon would be pretty. Cut that off. And then my string here comes unraveled so quickly that I'm going to put a knot in each end to keep it from fraying immediately. And then I'm just going to loosely, so if you were ready to put this on your gift, you would just string it onto your gift and then tie it. But because I'm not quite ready to do that, I'm just going to lightly knot it, and that way whenever it's ready for the present, you can just easily take that knot out and attach it to the gift. So I will do that on the other 2. you hole punch, and actually I'll just hole punch both of these at the same time. I find it's always better to do things, what do they call that? Not industrial line, but when you do all the same thing at once and then you do all the next step, it just goes much faster. I'll think of what that phrase is. And then this one, the fabric didn't quite go, so you just push that through. There we go. And you don't want to get too close to the edge. I got awfully close to the edge on that, and this one is fine. It won't be a problem, but I would say aim for the inside of the thread line, for the inside of it, and that will just make sure that it doesn't, when you hole punch it, it doesn't poke through the side, because that wouldn't work. Tie these off, knot them together loosely, put it aside. This one I already hole punched. I just have to push that fabric through a bit, string it through. And then the next step is going to be to put the stamp on the back. And then I want to try just experimenting a little bit with doing things in a little bit of a different way to add different textures. So first of all, I wanted to show you how I store my stamps. This was a really great find that I got on Amazon, and I'm sure they still have them on there. But it's a case that has a handle, and then when you open it up, it's Velcro, you slide out a tray. And so you line up all your stamps onto a tray, and it's two-sided, so that then you can flip it over and you can have your stamps on the other side. So this I find to be great, because then you can just tuck these inside of a drawer and it keeps them all organized. I also have my stamp pads in one of these containers. Now I have my black ink, I have my gift tags, and I have 3 stamps. So these stamps are 2 from, they're all pretty much the same size. I wish I had ones that kind of varied in size, but these are fine for now. All my tags are relatively the same size. So I'm just going to take my first tag, turn it over, and stamp 2 from. There you go. And there's the first one. And that one, I wish that the ink was a tiny bit crisper, so I think what I'm going to do is put a dab of water into my ink pad, and that should help. Okay, I just got a cup of water and a little water sucky-uppy thing, and let's see. I'm gonna dab a couple dabs of water in here. See if that helps at all. Hopefully it doesn't make it worse. So I'll use the same stamp. Might have put too much water in there, eek. And let's try it again. Oh, that made it worse. Oh no. Let's try it again. Oh, that's better, much better. That's nice. That looks great. Okay, and I have a couple more here. All right, and here's my gift tags. So I'm going to think over some of the other techniques that I could use for these. For this one, actually, I'm gonna get a Sharpie and go over that with a Sharpie. Let's see how it looks if I trace over this. I don't want it to look too sloppy. I do want these to look pretty professional, but it doesn't hurt to experiment with these kinds of things. And you don't want to double stamp over it, because then you'll get the kind of blurry look. It might make people nauseous to look at it. Wouldn't want that. And that looks fine, I think. All right, so now we have our stamps. I'm going to think over some other ways to kind of fancy these up a bit, and we will take a look at that in the next video. So make sure to tune in. For now, you can start with these and then tune back to see what we do next. Bye.